Good morning, Notre Dame fans. Mike Singer, Kyle Kelly, live on the Blue and Gold YouTube channel. Usually I say good morning, good afternoon, good evening, but it just feels way too early to say anything else. We are live at 10 in the morning, and that's my bad. My bad. Usually we go live at 1 for this show, but I had some personal things going on, so we had to move up the show. So if you're watching live, especially those watching back, really appreciate you for making us a part of your day. If you listen to this as a podcast, thank you. Thank you. Please leave us a 5-star review and fill out why you're leaving us a 5-star review on wherever you listen to your podcast. That would be very, very much appreciated. We have a lot to discuss today. Jam-packed show, 9 predictions log for the Irish. We talked about 4 of them last week or 5 of them last week, and we're going to cover the others and recap the the picks I logged last Monday for those who missed last week's show. And then it's USC week, and the game is being played in South Bend, Indiana. So that means that the Fighting Irish have a huge recruiting weekend on tap. Kyle, you getting enough sleep this week?
I am. It's been busy, but yeah, I'm pretty energized and ready to go for this weekend, man.
Irish Lou, good to see you. Sly Fox, Mr. Dorito, D1 Edits. Hello. Let's just go ahead and dive into the predictions from this past week, Kyle. Actually, I lied. Before we do that, let's talk about Augie's Locker Room. We know you love Notre Dame memorabilia and unique one-of-a-kind Notre Dame items, and you can find it at one place, and it's Augie's Locker Room, which is at 1733 North Ironwood Drive in South Bend, just down the street from Notre Dame. So if you're in town for a game, you're local, or you're coming through town, whatever the case may be, make time for Augie's Locker Room and check out their Notre Dame Stadium pieces, jerseys, helmets, autographs, and one-of-a-kind Rockney items. You can find exclusive Joe Montana signed items and famous sculptor Jerry McKenna's replicas of the bronze statues around the stadium. Augie gets new stuff in all the time. If he doesn't have something for you, he can find it. He's the guy. He's going to be able to find whatever you need for you. Just visit Augie, 1733 North Ironwood Drive in South Bend, just by campus, or give him a call, 574-277-6363. Milton fan, good morning. Okay, now let's dive into it. The big one. You saved the best for last. Julius Jones. I logged a prediction for the son of former Notre Dame running back Julius Jones Sr. to pick the Irish. He's the number 69 overall player, number 14 wide receiver, according to the 2027 Rivals Industry ranking. He's big time. He's got offers from everyone. And let me clarify something. I would say like eight of the 9 predictions, maybe 7 of the 9, they're not close to being done. These are truly, I am predicting, it's like predicting a Super Bowl winner before the season starts. Or I guess it would be more like it's like week 4 or 5, and you're like, all right, I'm kind of vibing with the Tampa Bay Bucks right now. Or, hey, I think the Bills are going to rebound. It's something like that. Like you're predicting a Super Bowl champ at week 4 or 5. That's kind of how some of these predictions are. I don't know if that's the best.
That's a perfect analogy.
Okay, there you go. Thank you, Kyle. Sometimes predictions can be, I am, gonna go with the, it's like 2008, and you're picking the Patriots to win the Super Bowl. And it's, and they're playing in the AFC Championship game. It's like, all right, it's really not that impressive. Of course, they went on and lost to the Giants that year, but that's besides the point. That's some and both times you can still like win money, but which one is more impressive? So I like, and I've done both, right? But I tend to do these fall predictions where it's projecting out, and logging a pick for Julius Jones surely is projecting out. And for all the details and all these predictions, it's really cool. Like you go to this, if you just like Google Mike Singer expert predictions, this is the first thing that pops up. And for those, I get this question all the time: what's your prediction percentage? I'm at 70%, which is probably not great, but the thing is, the average day's correct at 62. So on average, my predictions are 2 months before the kids commit. That is so 70% at 2 months out is damn good. I think that's a pretty good hit rate. So like I think that's a way to say these long-term picks, I'm actually decent at them. You know, maybe it helps my average Kyle when I do like a Joey O'Brien. It's like 15 months. That's a lot of average days. But yeah, Julius Jones, I think that Notre Dame, how they're throwing the football is really helping in this recruitment. I think his visit to campus really blew him away. I think he liked it a lot more than he thought he would. And I think that Julius Jones Sr., look, no dad is going to come out and say, like a former player dad, he's going to come out and say, hey, I want my son to follow my footsteps. Like, they might kind of want it in the back of their mind, but they're not pushing their kid that way. I don't think Julius Jones Sr. is doing that. I've talked to him. He's not. But I think he's pro Notre Dame. Kyle, what's your reaction to this pick?
Well, I was a little bit curious what my prediction average dates were, and it's a month, so I'm a little behind you. I'm 32 days. I do not make as many predictions.
Yeah, so
as
I've
you.
done 109 at On 3. How many have you done?
I don't know. Let me see. It hasn't been many.
Yeah,
only
50.
17.
You've logged 17 picks?
Yeah, I mean, there's some kids that I just have too good a relationship with where I just choose not to, just because I don't want to upset them. And it's also like maybe for some guys you've already predicted them, so I'm like, I don't really feel the need to predict them.
That's true.
And
you're at 16 to 17 though.
Yeah, and the one I got wrong was Ivan Taylor, which was initially correct.
Yeah.
So yeah, I try to be pretty diligent when I make those picks, but most importantly of all, I let everyone know on the Loose Emoji message board, how I'm feeling about most of the recruits. So even if I'm not putting a prediction in, our subscribers usually have a pretty good idea how that recruitment's trending. My question to you is, I know the standard when we make these predictions is always a 60% confidence level. That's pretty standard. But
see where you're going with this.
If you had to give your personal confidence level in this prediction, how you're feeling about it, what would you say?
60%. I don't know. It's tough to answer. Like, I think all of the kids I predict, I think all the kids I predict are going to Notre Dame, but like some you do feel better than. And yeah, it's dude, there's just so much.
I'll say for you,
left
it's
to be
bold.
played. Yeah, it's bold. There's so there's so much ball to be played here. Sorry, I got like something going on in my throat. Like there's a lot to transpire. So, I think if you, that's why I always like to give the context. Kyle, we do so many shows together. You're probably like, Mike, I'm tired of hearing you give the context about your predictions, but I do think it's important to remind folks like that's how I do them. And I think a lot of people respect them. I'm sure Twitter and Instagram trolls don't, but that's whatever. They live in their mom's basement and they're like 42 years old, but I'm half joking. But it's different if I were like the day before the commitment and I was getting this one wrong. Like that would be embarrassing. But so that doesn't answer your question, Kyle. I mean,
well, can I say something real quick?
Sure.
So I think it's also important to note with these predictions, it's not like you're just scrolling through the offer list and just saying, oh, hey, I think this guy's going to end up at Notre Dame, because things are
right.
These are all informed, maybe some a little bit more than others. But I mean, with every one of these picks, there's some sort of basis and intel behind them.
Thank you.
That's
you got my back today, bro.
I'm just kind of calling it is now. Do I feel confident in Julius Jones's recruitment enough to predict him to Notre Dame?
I'm glad.
But I see where you're coming from.
Kyle and I don't, this might sound kind of sus, but opposites attract. Kyle and I are very different people, and I think we work really well together because of that. Kyle's very organized in most things, and I am very disorganized in most things. But then the things that I'm very organized in, Kyle's not. Like Like we just do things differently in a lot of ways, and it works perfectly because, yeah, things that I'm not good at, Kyle is, and things that Kyle's not good at, I am, and it works great. So like I just said that, Kyle, because if you were also loosey goosey with your picks like I can be, it probably wouldn't look good. But I like that you are more grounded on some of these things. But yeah, thank you for bringing up that point that, like, yeah, there's not a single prediction of these 9, and I know we've only talked about one. We're going to get to the other 8 that haven't been, talked through with, various sources, or, I've done a lot of research, or, talked to Kyle about, like, yeah, 100%. Yeah. Rip Jules. If you just, there's your 100%, brother. Yep, he's here, of course. So yeah. All right. Let's go through them then. James Halter, another Notre Dame legacy. His father is Jordan Halter. Jordan Halter played for Joe Moore at Notre Dame a few decades ago. Really like that pick. I think that's one of the ones that I feel best about. I think I wrote at, like, he visited for, was it A&M or Purdue?
A&M.
I wrote like a visitor preview for that, and it was like a, here's the guys on offer watch, and I wrote for him, like, if he gets an offer from the Irish, I'm probably going to predict him to Notre Dame. It took me a few weeks, but it happened. I think that, yeah, I feel good about this pick, and I think that it's probably a matter of time before Notre Dame lands him. Quentin Burrell, it's interesting because I think he ends up at Notre Dame or Michigan, right? But I feel like I have the same level of confidence that Notre Dame gets Burrell as I do Jones. Right. Like, it's close. Like it's I feel like it's like a 50-50 thing between Notre Dame and Michigan. Like I think that those are his, and Kyle, of course, this is a Chicagoland kid, so this 4-star wide receiver a good bit. You've seen him more than I have. But I had a good conversation with him after the what was that, a motorcycle? What was that?
Yeah, I think we have some fertilizer going down up here. I'm surprised you heard that.
Sorry, threw me off for a second.
You talked to
Yeah.
him after the
Yeah.
Chicago Mount Carmel Brother Rice game, which was a couple weeks after his Notre Dame A&M visit.
Yeah, and he didn't give away a ton, but just in talking to sources, it's been, hey, my folks in South Bend feel very, like, hey, it's going to be Notre Dame or Michigan, and we think he's going to end up, kind of coming this way. So feel fairly good about that. And then one more before I throw it back to you for your reaction on this group is Jackson Dollar. Man, like, of the tight ends, and Steve Wiltfong logged a prediction for another tight end. We're not going to talk about it in this video. You can find it at blueandgold.com, though, who I do agree, of the tight end offers, he's leaning towards the Irish the most. But in terms of, like, who likes Notre Dame the most, plus, like, the long time target, like, I think Jackson Dollar of the tight end group is the one I felt most comfortable doing a prediction for right now. He's just been at the top of the Irish board. Really is just like an overall target in the 2027 class, for all this calendar year. Notre Dame absolutely loves him. Dollar is visiting this weekend from Denver, North Carolina. I don't even really know who the top competition is for Notre Dame and in Jackson Dollar's recruitment. He's the number 5 tight end in the country. He's been to, Kyle, I gotta mute you. He's been to Miami, North Carolina, Clemson, NC State, Georgia. Those were his last 5 visits. I think that he wants to be at Notre Dame. I do. Yeah, and I had a little bit more intel. You can find it in the in his prediction article. Again, if you're on this page right here and you click intel, it'll take you to that article. But yeah, I feel pretty darn good about that one. It's definitely not done, but I think that Notre Dame is the team to beat and will establish itself as that team to beat even more so.
Yeah, another bold one in my eyes, but it just because I don't really know where to go with tight end recruiting, because I've heard probably 4 or 5 different guys.
that they're one
that-
or two for.
Yeah, and that Notre Dame thinks that they got a good shot at. So
Yeah.
I'm wondering what the priority list looks like in South Bend.
You just triggered me from a conversation like 2 years ago.
Yeah, and then
If you know, you
also,
know.
yeah, and then so that, and then like who commits first possibly is it the other
Yeah.
thing, because if there's a lower guy on the board that wants in, is Notre Dame going to turn him down to hold out for a guy that might not commit to Notre Dame? So that's a part of it as well.
Good problems to have.
Yeah, so I'm interested to see what happens here. I'm also starting to wonder if they take 3 tight ends because
Mm.
they're so favorably positioned for so many guys. I mean, I think 2 makes the most sense, but it's just like, hey, if you think you're you're in a good spot with all these tight ends, are you going to take 3? Like 3 was a conversation for a little bit this week or this year when Evan Jacobson was deciding. So,
Yeah.
yep, I think we'll, or at least I will, know a little bit more about Jackson Dollar's recruitment coming out of this weekend, because that's when he's going to be back on campus, and I think kind of the vibes coming out of that one will really give us an indication on how accurate this prediction might end up becoming.
Who's talking to him after his visit? Oh,
You,
thank God. All right. I was about to say, Kyle, we're gonna have a conversation. I connected with his brother this week, and he's great. And his older brother played at Charlotte, and I think that he is a really key figure in his recruitment, and I think that's always a good sign. Former players just get Notre Dame more, you know? Just think about you, right? Notre Dame fan watching this, or USC fan who's a hater. Like, you just think back and like, man, things I maybe would have done differently in life. I feel like a lot of former players, like, you grow up and you're an adult and you're like, man, you value education more than when you're a teenager. For a lot of these, a lot of these families, like, that's just kind of how it goes. So I think that's a big part of why Notre Dame does so well with NFL legacies, right? These former NFL players know that, hey, football's over one day. You want to do something afterwards. That's why the Irish do so well with those kids, because their fathers are speaking into them. And I think with Jackson Dollar, it's kind of just another thing that's going in the Irish favor here. That's a key figure in his recruitment is his brother who played college football. So those were all the new picks from this week. I am done. Maybe new ones to come out of this weekend. There's certainly a few that I have my eyes on. And then just to quickly recap the ones from last week. Actually, today's the 16th. So Dollar would have been last Thursday. But that was Thursday night, so we wouldn't have talked about it on the show. But from prior to the show last week, I did Jalen Hill, St. John Bosco, cornerback. That's a bold one, but I think that Notre Dame's right there in his top group. Notre Dame, Texas A&M, USC. Interestingly enough, those 3 schools, but really had a great time on campus. The A&M game, like, sources were absolutely buzzing about this 4-star corner from Kingston Viliamuasa's old high school. Cameron Wagner from Illinois, not a Chicago kid, Central Illinois, but Notre Dame looks like they're in a really good position for him. We've been talking about Cameron Wagner a ton on this show over the years. Amari Irvin was one of my bolder ones, 4-star linebacker from IMG Academy. I actually feel really good about Amari Irvin. I think that he's Notre Dame bound. Now, the whole thing about his older brothers committed to Notre Dame and, the 2 parties parted ways and that whole thing, that's still kind of awkward for me to cover. It's like, really? You wouldn't think that would, like, that Notre Dame would then land the younger brother, but it looks in great position. And Kyle, you've talked to him, I've talked to him. There's nothing. It's all good there. Like, it just seems like there's no bad blood, and it's all an offensive staff is different from like when Cedric Irvin Jr. decommitted from the Irish in the 23 class. So That all seems to be good. And then Xavier Hassan, 4-star corner. Look, all of these is like big time recruiting battles. But yeah, I do feel like the Irish lead for all 9 of these guys, including Xavier Hassan, a 4-star corner from North Carolina, and Chicago Brother Rice defensive lineman Braden Parks. I think that he is going to want to stay close to home. So, any other closing thoughts on these picks, Kyle?
No, not a whole lot. I mean, I talked about some of these last week when we were on the show. Guys that I probably feel best about are Cameron Wagner and Xavier Hassan in terms of who could end up at Notre Dame. So, have to see if Notre Dame can close on those guys. And I have a feeling some of these guys could end up locking in their spot in some of these classes after their junior seasons. All these commitment timelines are getting moved up sooner and sooner. So you might get some clarity on these decisions sooner than later. And I mean, therefore your little average dates committed could go down. But yeah, Notre Dame in a good spot with a lot of these guys.
Yeah. Folks, got to be honest with you, buying tickets can be pretty stressful. The queues, the logins, prices jumping at checkout takes the fun out of it. That's why I've been using Game Time, and it is a game changer. It puts the advantage back in your hands. In just a couple taps, you'll get great seats at a great price. And tickets, they start as low as $25. Here's what I love. The price you see is the price you pay. No hidden fees, sneaking in at checkout. You can even see the view from your seat before you buy, which is great. And there are zone deals. Well, you pick the section and Game Time will pick the seat, so you save even more. Plus, everything's backed by the Game Time guarantee, so you know the tickets are legit and on time. So take the guesswork out of buying tickets for college football, professional sports, music, comedy, theater, and more. Download the Game Time app, create an account, use the code ON3, that's ON3, for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Swipe, tap, ticket, go. Download Game Time today. Man, I felt really good about that ad read. Just felt like I was flowing, bro. Love to see it. Okay, so huge recruiting weekend, Kyle. Set the stage for us. Why is this such a big recruiting weekend? And I know you just did a visitor preview story. And Kyle, I read it today, and I was so proud that you did. It didn't seem like you spent 4 hours on that one, like I know you do sometimes. It seemed like it was an appropriate amount of time. You use your time wisely, but it was a really good read. So set the stage for us. Why is this weekend so important?
Well, what helped me with the time on the article is I did a lot of the research for it back when Notre Dame had the Texas A&M recruiting weekend. So I already had a lot of the data compiled. But yeah, we've had a lot of questions. Is this the biggest Notre Dame recruiting weekend we've seen? Now, we can only really look back most accurately going back to or during the Freeman era, which is right around when On3 started. So can't really decide much before then. But just from everything I've heard and from my knowledge, like recruiting during the Marcus Freeman era has been much different than, Brian Kelly and those that have come before him. Like they've always had more recruits on campus with Freeman than what they had in the past. So I feel like the numbers and the data that I've compiled are probably painting a pretty accurate picture. Now, the short answer in terms of is this the biggest Notre Dame recruiting weekend in the Freeman era is no. The Texas A&M game beat Notre Dame by about 5 targets who are going to be on campus.
Beat the USC game, you mean?
Yeah, sorry.
Okay.
Or no.
The A&M.
Yeah. So the A&M game had 5 more targets than the USC
this weekend.
Game. So therefore, the A&M visit was a little bit bigger. And then I talked to some sources on campus earlier in the week, and they had echoed that the A&M was just slightly bigger, but the quality of targets on campus is higher. So you can check out the details on those in my story that I posted on Blue and Gold this morning. But the one big time overarching theme is I think there's going to be 5 guys who are ranked within the top 32, which is the threshold for a 5-star recruit, who are going to be on campus on Saturday. And 2 of those guys are return visitors from earlier this season with 5-star wide receiver Montrezl Sales, and
Sorry, not
five-star
to
edge David Jacobs Jr.
not to cut you off, but that is a theme that I was noticing and like doing some preview content this week is the amount of guys who visited for A&M and then are returning for this USC game. And okay, like Sales, okay, you're an indie kid, like it's a little bit easier, but like David Jacobs, you visit for your Notre Dame game. You check that box. You visit for the A&M game. All right, you did the Notre Dame experience there. Like that you don't need to come up a second time, right? Come back in the winter for junior day, come back in the spring for practice, come back for your official. But coming back a second time for a kid from the South really shows strong interest. I think that is super notable. A Georgia legacy who I think was it his godfather's Mark Richt or something like that, Kyle? He's got very close family
I did
connections to
not
Mark
know
Richt.
that.
It was
Crazy.
something like
Wow.
that. There's something there. Like his dad played at Georgia for Mark Richt, I'm assuming. So yeah. Anyways, number 12 overall player, number 12, 2 edge. Did the industry ranking just get more 5 stars for 27?
Just one because
Someone left the class, right?
reclassified. Yep. Bubba Frazier's teammate.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Texas Tech bet. Yeah. So, I mean, guys, we live in a world. Just think how long you've been a Notre Dame fan. A 5-star defensive end in Georgia legacy is coming to South Bend twice. 5-star. I mean, like this is massive. I love it. Can't speak highly enough about it.
Yeah, we'll see what happens there. I did do a quick Google search, and it sounds like Mark Richt is the godfather of David Jacobs.
How about that?
Yeah, interesting. I mean, Mark Richt obviously coached at Miami, I believe, too. I don't know if he was as successful as he was there at Georgia, but
No.
yeah. So the big storyline is five-star caliber guys on campus. The 2 return visitors, then 2 for all intents and purposes flip targets. Keemon Spell, who was previously committed to Penn State, he'll be on campus, and then Jameer Brown, the 5-star wide receiver out of Ohio, who's committed to Ohio State. Tons of headlines surrounding his recruitment this week with his lawsuit against the state of Ohio to be compensated for his name, image, and likeness as a high schooler. So
Ohio is really, like, from what I know about
Ohio High School Athletics Association is no bueno. So
I was about to use something a little bit more vulgar, but yeah, let's just say no bueno. That works.
yeah.
But yeah, just very uptight. How about that?
Yes. Yeah,
like
there's
this whole 7-on-7 thing. Did they get rid of that?
I thankfully yes, because
got sued enough. It's ridiculous. It was like high school athletes can't play for 7-on-7 teams. Like, it's so stupid. So makes no sense. How can you govern? Like, why would you even, like, what's the point?
Exactly. So Jameer Brown taking the OHSAA to court, but first he'll be in South Bend this weekend. I'm gonna get out to his high school game tomorrow night, check him out. Excited to cover that game. I've seen Jameer Brown in person a couple of times, and he's about as elite as they get.
Of course. Comes from Marcus Freeman and Mike Mickens High School. We've talked about that a good bit. Roosevelt Mooks, the head coach there, was an assistant coach at Wayne High School in Huber Heights, Ohio, when Freeman and Mickens went there. So really strong connections. I really need to find the interview, but when Freeman was the defensive coordinator at Notre Dame, I had a one-on-one with him. I think this would have been the summer going into his first season at Notre Dame. And it was a Zoom. And I remember asking him about like his aspirations. And he was like, man, who knows? Like, I don't know. I'm down for anything. Like maybe my first time as a head coach is at Huber Heights, Wayne. That's literally what I gotta find that. It was awesome. That was a really cool Zoom interview that I got to do with Freeman. I gotta find that part. I'm sure You know what? I think I did the interview, and I think Patrick Engel actually wrote the story because I had a little rapport with Freeman back in the day. But yeah, Freeman maybe will be the head coach at Wayne High School someday, but not anytime soon. So yeah, Jameer Brown. I mean, does Notre Dame have much of a shot here, Kyle?
Long shot, but they're chipping away, and that's all you can do.
All you can ask for.
Hey, with the way things are going with Jameer Brown in Ohio right now,
they're going to kick him out.
I don't know. I think Ohio State might have some beef with the OHSAA as well, to be honest. But yeah, Notre Dame's chipping away, man. Who knows what happens? He's got this season and next to go, and what happens with Brian Hartline. That guy's long overdue for a promotion. I know he got one. He's the offensive coordinator at Ohio State now, but yeah, we'll see what happens.
Folks, please hit the thumbs up on this video. Subscribe to the Blue and Gold YouTube channel for more content. Great live viewership today for a show that we went live at 10 in the morning. So if you're just tuning in, you can pause it and you can rewind, watch in the beginning, because we talked about a absolutely huge prediction that I logged pretty late last night. It's been a busy week in the Singer household, but got the one up. So yeah, check that out. But yeah, please hit the thumbs up. And all right, so we talked about Jameer Brown there. That's a big one. Keemon Spell, we did a whole video on Brown and Spell. Kyle, you have just absolutely killed the coverage this week. Kyle broke the news on Jameer Brown and Spell. I think you did both. And then maybe Sales.
I honestly don't know. I had the
Spell one was a little while ago. That's right.
I had the Sales scoop, but I held off on reporting on it because it was, hey, we're going to Michigan and Notre Dame, and I was like,
yeah. So
okay,
he's going
sounds good. Like
Michigan at noon and then Notre Dame. So he's not going to get like a full visit experience at Notre Dame, but kid knows Notre Dame. Like he was just there for the A&M game. So I think that's huge. Like 5-star and we're 15 overall player and we're 3 wide receiver. Man, these like a 5-star wide receiver, a 5-star wide receiver, and a 5-star running back all coming to campus. Like pretty big deal. So Keemon Spell, we've talked a ton about on this channel. Like he may be the guy we've talked about most. A quick side note, Kyle, we're not going to talk about any Notre Dame commits in this video just for the sake of time. But today I'm going to do a 10 most important visitors for this weekend article. And it's really just a conjecture story, but it's a fun kind of look inside my brain, and I'll give some notes on the recruitments. I'm putting Kari Adams in that top 10 because got to show some love for the commits, and Kari Adams is as elite as they get. So we always look at the shiny toys for the next class, and who maybe Notre Dame's looking to flip or whatever, but don't forget about the current commits. Those guys are super important as well. All right, let's speed through some of these, Kyle. Amir Brown just decommitted from North Carolina. We were both surprised when he committed to the Tar Heels back in August, but he has backed off that pledge, probably just committed too early. He was talking more about Notre Dame, Texas, and Oregon, and then commits to North Carolina out of the blue. Of course, the Tar Heels have stunk this season. We like where Notre Dame is at right now. It's someone I could see myself predicting to the Irish, to be honest.
Yeah, I'm with you. Talked to a source on campus before Amir Brown even decommitted, and they felt like they were in a good spot. So I think this is going to go a little bit longer than this weekend in terms of his recruitment, but I think Notre Dame is a school to beat.
Yeah, I agree. Ace Alston, man, how many times has this kid visited campus? This is visit number 5 coming up. He's just been a regular in South Bend. And another Cincinnati kid from Anderson High School, 5'11", 175 pounds, number 11 corner in this cycle. We both feel pretty good about this one, Kyle. I mean, follow the visits.
Yeah, he has a great relationship with the Notre Dame coaches. Marcus Freeman has given him the nickname the Natty Boy, short for Cincinnati. So I feel like Notre Dame's got some of the buzz here. Ace Alston, he could have been on a bunch of other campuses this weekend, but he chose to visit Notre Dame for the second time in 6 weeks. So keep an eye on the Irish possibly making a move. And
yeah,
I can do the lead here on Seneca Driver because he'll be at Notre Dame as well, the elite tight end from Kentucky. I think he's checked out Penn State, Oklahoma, and Louisville this season. and this will be, I think, visit number 3. He's the nephew of Tony Driver, the Notre Dame safety. So a lot of connections to the Irish. He told me after his Irish invasion visit that Notre Dame feels like home. So this is one of those tight ends I was kind of referencing earlier that who knows, could they end up at Notre Dame?
Yeah.
He was a standout performer at Irish invasion.
Yeah,
Has a chance to be one of the best tight ends in the class, and Notre Dame going to get him back to South Bend.
Between Driver, Dollar, Garachi, and Brown, and maybe even the Wisconsin kid, it's like, man, you could see Notre Dame landing any of those guys. But I do feel like Dollar is the one that I'm like, man, I just feel like Notre Dame will pull out all the stops to get him in the class. But yeah, other than that, like, I don't foresee myself doing other predictions at tight end, but we will see. Kyle, how are you feeling about the Browns-Dolphins games this weekend?
Shoot, I didn't even know about that. We got to have some sort of wager on that. Friendly wager, not monetary, but
no,
I think the Browns are favored.
We're both losers. Like there's no like real winner. It's just like it's Oh, I probably shouldn't say that. I don't know. I'm trying. There's a term I wanted to use, but I probably shouldn't say it. But it's it's you're just the better of two terrible teams on that day. Like, gosh, awful franchises. At Taven Epps, Texas commit, interesting one. Number 13 edge in the country in the 27 class. First visit, Kyle.
Yep.
I want to say.
Yeah, he was supposed to make it to campus in the spring, but he committed to Texas. So
yeah,
now he's coming to campus with a pledge to the Longhorns.
James Halter, big one. One of my predictions from this week. Someone I feel like could be look, offensive linemen, tight ends, and quarterbacks commit the earliest. I think that Notre Dame will probably look. I got that prediction in for James Halter, and I could see him committing sometime in the next couple of months. And then a couple more. Actually, this is the last one because we already talked about Jacobs, Spell, and Sales. Trayvon Towns. There's a good crop of 2028 quarterbacks coming to town. Towns, 6'3", 205 pounds. He definitely stood out at Irish Invasion just with he's a big dude. And I thought he had a pretty good day coming out from Los Angeles. So he is on offer watch. Notre Dame has not offered any quarterbacks in the 28 class. But yeah, he is someone that I could see ending up with an offer from the Irish. So Milton fan said, Mike, what's Kyle not good at? Kyle sometimes just
the master visitor list.
No, Kyle just needs Kyle is so dedicated and works so hard on things that I'm like, I feel like I just have to rein him in sometimes. Like how I can't have you burned out, bro. So it's like in an interview, if you're asked like a job interview, like what is your weakness? Kyle's would be I work too hard, and it would be true. It would be true. It's a terrible answer, but it's a true one.
Appreciate it.
Yeah. Would they take two tight ends again? Yes. I expect Notre Dame to take two tight ends in the 27 class. There's just too many darn good options out there for the Irish. So that is going to do it for this show, folks. Please hit the thumbs up on this video. Subscribe to the channel for more content. Go to blueandgold.com for so much more recruiting preview content. And, of course, so much leading up to the game, score predictions, what the coaches and players are saying, and so much more. Blueandgold.com. Go to Loose Emoji message board. Get plugged into our community. If you're just tuning in, rewind, watch the beginning, talk about some predictions, talk about some key recruits coming to town this weekend. Thank you all for tuning in, and we'll catch you next time.